one of the most talked about Islamic preachers in Nigeria who have had photographs with people suspected to be terrorists, terrorizing villages and communities in the northern part of Nigeria when he visited the suspected terrorists in their camps inside forests on the ground of having peace talk with the armed groups. Sheikh Ahmed Abubakar Mahmoud Gumi has described as a terrorist act the United States U.S. military action ordered by President Donald Trump that attacked and killed yet to be ascertained total numbers of ISIS-affiliated Lakurawa terrorists in Sokoto state on Christmas Day. The Islamic cleric called on the people in the villages affected by the U.S. missile strikes on Thursday night to post on social media platforms evidences of damages caused by the U.S. military action. According to Gumi, it is in line with the teachings of Islam for terrorists to be killed, but the killing must be done by people with a clean and holy hands, and not by another terrorist whose hands are stained with the blood of hundreds of thousands of innocent children, women, and men. Just recently, stressing that the U.S. involvement in the fight against terrorism in Nigeria will make the country becomes an enemy of its neighbors, a theater of war, because the involvement will attract the real anti-US forces into the West Africa country, and in a manner that looked like mockery. Sheikh Gumi said, dropping a few bombs here and there cannot tackle the menace of terror. They need serious military on the ground, which, if we are serious, we have enough men to do that. In contrary to Gumi's assertions, the Nigeria government, through the office of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, said it was President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Thursday that gave the US the approval to carry out the strikes against the terrorists. But the government statement apparently did not go down well with Omoyele Sowore, a human rights activist and the founder of Sahara Reporters news media, who insisted that it is evident that the strikes were carried out without the genuine authority or informed consent of the weaklings masquerading as government under Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and in a swift reaction to Omoyele Sowore, one of the recently nominated and confirmed ambassador-designate, Reno Omokri, said, "I am afraid I will have to disagree with Mr. Omoyele Sowore, and others like him, who are misinforming the Nigerian public that the recent actions against terrorists are proof that Nigeria lacks sovereignty. Such views are indicative of a lack of awareness of international relations. It is also wrong for Mr. Sowore to call our government and military weak." Sheikh Ahmed Abubakar Mahmoud Gumi, in a statement titled, "The Symbolism of the US Strike," he shared on his verified Facebook account when he reshared the news link of a post published by CNN on Friday, said, "Annihilating terrorists is an Islamic obligation. The Prophet, peace be upon him, wished he annihilated them. He said, should I live till they appear, I would kill them as the killing of the nation of Ad. Al-Bukhari and Muslim." This said, it should only be carried out by clean, holy hands, not by another terrorist whose hands are stained with the blood of hundreds of thousands of innocent children, women, and men just recently. This is the mistake Nigeria has made. Terrorists don't fight terrorists in truth. They may only kill innocent people and have ulterior motives behind the drama of fighting terror. As a principle, no nation should allow its land to be a theater of war. And no nation should allow its neighbors to be their enemies. If Nigeria wants military assistance, China, Turkey, and Pakistan can do the job effectively. The US involvement in Nigeria will attract the real anti-US forces, making our land the theater of war. The US's involvement in Nigeria, citing coming to protect Christians, will ultimately polarize our nation and infringe on our sovereignty. Nigeria should halt all military cooperation with the USA immediately because of its imperial tendencies worldwide and seek the help of those neutral countries mentioned. Nigerians are too educated to be played with. This is going to be a 2027 campaign discourse. Meanwhile, dropping a few bombs here and there cannot tackle the menace of terror. They need serious military on the ground, which, if we are serious, we have enough men to do that. We call on all villages affected to upload videos and pictures of any casualties involved. The attacks are symbolic of a Harbinger neo-crusade war against Islam. Attack on Sokoto, where 90% are Muslim with no imminent danger of terror, while the real threat is in Maiduguri and on a Christmas Eve, with the claim of protecting against Christian genocide, says a lot. We believe the terror is manufactured and sustained by the same people claiming to fight it. A word is enough for the wise. According to Channels Television, the Nigeria government said President Bola Tinubu gave the go-ahead for the US strikes against terrorists in the country's northwestern region. Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Tuggar said this on Friday, hours after the US Department of War and President Donald Trump announced the North American nation had conducted strikes against the terrorists. Now that the US is cooperating, we would do it jointly, and we would ensure, just as the President emphasized yesterday before he gave the go-ahead, that it must be made clear that it is a joint operation, and it is not targeting any religion nor simply in the name of one religion or the other, the minister said on Channels Television's Sunrise Daily. We are a multi-religious country, and we are working with partners like the US to fight terrorism and safeguard the lives and properties of Nigerians, the minister said. Some have viewed the strikes as a violation of the country's territorial integrity, but Tuggar says the federal government would not take any actions that would violate the country's sovereignty. Omiyele Sowore reacted and said, I have read reports that the United States government launched attacks on Nigerian soil on Christmas Day, as announced by Donald Trump and the US Secretary of War, Peter Hegseth, purportedly targeting terrorist groups within Nigeria. Although the Nigerian government now claims it was aware and describes the operation as a joint effort with vague, international partners, it is evident that the strikes were carried out without the genuine authority or informed consent of the weaklings masquerading as government under Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. My position remains unchanged. Judging by the nature of the confirmed strike on a village in Sokoto, it is clear that the US president under whose authority this operation occurred neither understands nor genuinely cares about Nigeria or Nigerians. It is deeply troubling that Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, lacks the capable and sovereign leadership required to protect its people and its territory. As a result, the country has been reduced to a bystander while its sovereignty is violated under the direction of US President Donald J. Trump. I reiterate, only true, tested, and informed leadership can protect Nigerians, not imperiled, jaundiced neoconservatives operating from Washington, D.C. Reno Omokri in a statement titled, Addressing Omiyele Sowore's Statements on Nigeria's Sovereignty, said, I am afraid I will have to disagree with Mr. Omiyele Sowore, and others like him, who are misinforming the Nigerian public that the recent actions against terrorists are proof that Nigeria lacks sovereignty. Such views are indicative of a lack of awareness of international relations. Please fact-check me. Larger and older nations than Nigeria, which I would not want to mention out of respect for these countries and the governments, have asked for and received direct international and foreign military assistance, intervention, specifically from the United States and other countries, when dealing with terrorists operating within their borders, especially when those belligerents are mobile and have embedded themselves so close to innocent civilian populations that it would be difficult to use conventional means against them without harming law-abiding citizens. While I would not want to identify these nations, journalists and interested members of the public can use Google or other AI tools to help reveal them. It is also wrong for Mr. Sowore to call our government and military weak. For his education, Mr. Sowore may want to know that Nigeria has a better military record than most nations, and has decisively brought peace and stabilized several countries, beginning from the Congo in 1960, to Tanzania in 1964, to Lebanon in 1978, and then via Ecomog in the Mano River region, Liberia, Sierra Leone, etc., between 1991 and 2006. Our military has also helped restore democratically elected governments in places like Sao Tome and Principe and others. When Nigeria's armed forces intervened in those nations, they did not tamper with or in any way weaken the sovereignty of those countries or the governments. In fact, we were invited either by the countries themselves, the United Nations, or regional bodies. The Nigerian armed forces have a sterling military record as a dependable fighting unit. In fact, due to their superior training, Nigerian military personnel have served as chiefs of army staff in other nations. However, when you are fighting cowardly terrorists that weave in and out of civilian populations, you need the help of those with precision targeting capabilities. What Mr. Sowore and others like him may not be aware of is that no single nation has ever defeated terror on its own. It takes international effort. Mr. Sowore has himself admitted receiving funding from multiple US funding agencies. Based on his admission, should that mean he is a foreign puppet, unfit to aspire to leadership in Nigeria? Of course not. If Omoyele Sowore and others like him have anger over what has happened, please let it be directed at the terrorists and their sponsors, who have killed many Nigerians of all faiths and ethnicities and disrupted communities, while preventing honest and hard-working Nigerians from going about their lawful activities. Projecting anger at anything that will bring relief and succor to those Nigerians most affected by terror is not patriotic, no matter how much some try to cloak it in such terms. The priority is to protect the lives and properties of Nigerians by any legal and moral means necessary and possible. If, indeed, people have any influence at all, that sway should not be used to cause dissension and turn some Nigerians against their leaders. Rather, it should be used to get those terrorists to turn a new leaf, drop their weapons, embrace peace, and show fidelity to the Nigerian flag and constitution. May God bless Nigeria.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
While many Nigerians were asleep after the 2025 Christmas celebration, the United States, U.S. warship moved close and took position in the territorial Africa waters, then launched missiles at the dead of the night on Thursday into areas predominantly dominated by the Lakurawa terrorists in the Nigeria northwestern state of Sokoto, with President Donald Trump saying many of the terrorists were killed, but the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS in the West Africa province, is yet to issue a statement over the airstrikes on the Lakurawa camps in Sokoto, the armed group that is affiliated with the Islamic State Sahel province operating in Mali, Niger, and the Nigeria Kebbi and Sokoto states, whose activities are mostly observed in 5 local government areas of Tangasa, Gudu, Alela, Binji, and Salame in Sokoto state. Some residents at Jabo village in the Tambul local government area of Sokoto state posted videos online to indicate that some components used in making the missiles fell on a farmland in the Jabo village. The videos showed a lot of the villagers, mostly younger ones, holding phones with touchlight on, recording the scene of the burning parts of one of the missiles in the farmland, while some took a closer camera angle shot of some of the components that have manufacturing inscriptions, dates and brand labels. The U.S. Africa Command, in a statement a few hours ago, said, at the direction of the President of the United States and the Secretary of War, and in coordination with Nigerian authorities, U.S. Africa Command conducted strikes against ISIS terrorists in Nigeria on December 25, 2025, in Sokoto State. President Donald Trump, while announcing the military action through his Truth social media platform on Thursday night, said, "Tonight, at my direction as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria, who have been targeting and viciously killing, primarily, innocent Christians, at levels not seen for many years, and even centuries. I have previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay, and tonight, there was." The Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes, as only the United States is capable of doing. Under my leadership, our country will not allow radical Islamic terrorism to prosper. May God bless our military, and Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if their slaughter of Christians continues. Peter Hegseth, the U.S. Secretary of War, reiterated the U.S. President's announcement in a tweet, saying, "The President was clear last month, the killing of innocent Christians in Nigeria and elsewhere must end. The Department of War is always ready, so ISIS found out tonight, on Christmas. More to come. Grateful for Nigerian government support and cooperation. Merry Christmas." On November 25, 2025, Peter Hegseth had said, "Yes, sir. The killing of innocent Christians in Nigeria, and anywhere, must end immediately. The Department of War is preparing for action. Either the Nigerian government protects Christians, or we will kill the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. Bulama Bukati, a lawyer and social commentator, tweeted in reaction that, "I'm pleased to see that President Trump appears to have listened to our concerns back in November and worked with the Nigerian government rather than acting unilaterally." The US airstrikes reportedly took place in Sokoto state, suggesting they targeted the Lakurawa group, which has become increasingly lethal. Strikes against the group are a welcome development, as they can help degrade its leadership and logistical capacity. This is especially positive given that the operation was carried out with the consent and cooperation of the Nigerian government. We had reported in early November 2025 that President Donald Trump of the United States of America has placed US soldiers on red alert for possible war in Nigeria. According to President Trump, the US Department of War should prepare US troops for possible military action in Nigeria if the Nigerian government continued to allow the killing of Christians. The US troops may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. This, President Trump issued on Saturday evening in line with Greenwich Meridian time after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu personally signed a statement rejecting Trump's earlier claim on Friday that Christians are being targeted and killed in Nigeria. Although President Bola Ahmed Tinubu disagreed with Trump, who had described the high level of insecurity in Nigeria as a religious war by Islamic terrorists against Christians, but some Nigerians quickly took to the comment section of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's post on X social media platform, and pasted a screenshot of a tweet published by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on January 29, 2014, wherein President Bola Ahmed Tinubu apparently had long accepted and agreed that the insecurity in Nigeria is possibly a religious war against Christians in the West Africa country. Verbatim, in the tweet, Tinubu said, "The slaughtering of Christian worshippers is strongly condemnable. It calls to question the competence of Jonathan, then President of Nigeria, to protect Nigerians." This old statement by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu indicated that President Donald Trump of the United States of America may not be the first person to describe the insecurity in Nigeria as a religious war against Christian communities in the West Africa country.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
In an effort to challenge and prove wrong the statement of Harrison Gwamnishu, a well-known civilian volunteer assisting Nigeria security operatives with intelligence information that has led to the arrest and killing of suspected kidnappers in gun battle, that he, Harrison Gwamnishu, was never arrested or charged to court by the Nigeria police force over the 5.4 million nairas he allegedly removed from the 20 million nairas ransom he was contracted to hand over to the kidnappers for the release and rescue of the married couple kidnapped in Avili community in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State in late November 2025. A leading Nigeria social media influencer and human rights activist, Martins Vincent Otts aka VeryDarkMan, on Tuesday night took to his social media pages and presented an apparent questionable court document, probably with malicious intent to manipulate and mislead unsuspecting members of the public in order to malign the character of Harrison Gwamnishu. This, in the court document presented by VeryDarkMan, the alleged charge serial numbers were covered with a colored ink. No date of court sitting was written on the court document. The document indicated that the alleged 3-count charges were drafted and signed on the 18th of December 2025, a day before Harrison Gwamnishu was asked to go home from the police custody on December 19, 2025, while awaiting the advice of the Department of Public Prosecutor, DPP, on the matter. And the apparent fraudulent court document did not show the officer or the person responsible for the court count charges, and VeryDarkMan apparently in a manipulative manner did not show the full signature and any name of the officer who authored the alleged court charges. VeryDarkMan claimed in the video that the prosecutor wanted Harrison Gwamnishu jailed for 6 months, but the judge he identified as Justice Etinosa Adekombi allegedly on her personal consideration. because of the Christmas and New Year season and public intervention, decided to grant Harrison Gwamnishu bail. Harrison Gwamnishu says he was never arrested by the police or charged to court as speculated in the public spaces over the 5.4 million nairas he allegedly removed out of the 20 million nairas ransom he was given to hand over to kidnappers, and as well apparently used the money as a bait to stage sting operation for the release and rescue of the husband and wife simply identified as Mr. and Mrs. Ibrahim, kidnapped in Avili community in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State, which generated public reactions after the kidnappers set free the wife and kept the husband in captivity on the ground that the money given to them was not complete, and some persons who have access to the apparent sensitive security information went public to create an impression as if Harrison Gwamnishu stole part of the ransom money, even when Harrison Gwamnishu explained to them that it is part of his operational procedures to remove some cash from the ransom money. His explanation apparently went on deaf ears, and people who may be best described as mischief makers took advantage of the issue to call Harrison Gwamnishu names and reopen his alleged past deeds in a prejudiced manner to cast aspersions on him, even when they knew that Harrison Gwamnishu has a long history with video evidences of assisting security operatives to rescue kidnapped victims, and in some cases, the total money paid as ransom were recovered and returned to the victims' families, and the sting operation usually leads to the killing and arrest of the suspected kidnappers. This, according to Harrison Gwamnishu in a statement he issued through his verified Facebook account some hours ago. He was the one who personally submitted himself voluntarily to the Edo State Command of the Nigeria Police Force to enable the police investigate his action, that he never had the intention of stealing the money, and his action of removing some money from the ransom was part of his usual operational procedures, adding that the police never charged him to court, and while in self-detention with the police, he became the cell president and he facilitated the release of 4 persons who were probably arrested and detained by the police unjustly for a crime the beneficiaries may know nothing about. And a video posted online by Harrison Gwamnishu on Monday night showed he arrived home to the waiting hands of his elderly mother, who was seen in the video singing, dancing with other family members, friends and well-wishers, and screaming loud with joy, while using one of her hands to caress the chest of her son, Harrison Gwamnishu, during which she said a lot of prayers in her local dialect. We had reported that the Nigeria Police Force, under the leadership of IGP Kayode Egbetoken, has kept mum since reports indicated that the US-trained private intelligence officer, Harrison Gwamnishu, who was invited to facilitate the rescue of a married couple, husband and wife simply identified as Mr. and Mrs. Ibrahim, that was kidnapped since late November at their home in Avil community, a village near Auchi Polytechnic in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State, has been arrested and remanded to prison by a court sitting in Benin City, the Edo State capital, over allegations that the private intelligence officer, Harrison Gwamnishu, underpaid the ransom money given to him to give to the kidnappers to rescue the married couple in captivity. The reports of Harrison Gwamnishu's arrest and subsequent remand to prison custody became widespread after a popular Nigeria social media activist, Vincent Martins-Otts, in a video statement on Friday morning alleged that he has facilitated the arrest of the private intelligence officer, Harrison Gwamnishu, for allegedly removing 5.4 million nairas from the total amount given to him by the victim's family to help pay as ransom to the kidnappers. This occurred after the sting operations Gwamnishu had prepared the ransom money for was probably aborted after a man, whose real names may be Oshiorimhe Jobasegheme, leaked, revealed and exposed the plan's sensitive security information online, according to the suspect who leaked out the sensitive security operational plans of Gwamnishu. Harrison Gwamnishu never told the family he was going to remove some money from the ransom, that the kidnappers said the money was not complete, hence only the wife was released, the man still held in captivity due to the incomplete ransom payment. The suspect, Oshiorimhe Jobasegheme, in a video recorded statement stated that he was the one that helped facilitate the service of Harrison Gwamnishu when the family of the kidnapped victims requested for it. The action of the suspect may have prompted Harrison Gwamnishu to abort the sting operations, obviously for the safety of his personal life and the lives of Nigeria soldiers and other security operatives he does use to execute and complete his sting operations against kidnappers, which often leads to the killing of the kidnappers and recovering of the total ransom paid. For the purpose of clarity, sting operations is a deceptive practice and undercover tactics used by journalist or intelligent officer or security operative to get closer to a suspected criminal or criminals in order to be more familiar with the criminals and the environment they operate. And the deceptive practice may include the journalist or intelligent officer or security operative pretending to give ransom money to kidnappers in a manner that can cause a delay and proper assessment of the environment before the security troops may launch offensive attack against the criminals. The action of a Segheme of leaking out sensitive security information may be of interest. Why Nigeria's soldiers and other security operatives are being killed in large numbers whenever in previous and recent years the Nigeria security troops are on rescue missions, including the recent mass killing of soldiers along with Brigadier General Uba Musa and civilian JTF members at Wajeroko village in Borno State by criminals.
Alright, so that's demonic, evil, very dark man. That's wicked, very dark man. Is about to do his demonic, evil, wicked, envious, jealous things that he usually does. But guess what? It always comes with truth. And you all know it. You can't take that away from him. No matter the accusation, you know the truth. And you can't skip his video either. That's the law. You can accuse, push narrative, but you can never skip his videos. So sit down again and watch. So Harrison have made his first post. Good for him. And then he said, let's skip to the important part. He said, for clarity, I was neither invited nor arrested by the police. As a law-abiding citizen, I voluntarily presented myself for investigation regarding the incident. Which incident? Let's skip that. At the moment, I have not been charged as the matter is still under review by the Directorate of Public Prosecution. See, this is the problem. I don't like lies. Damage control here and there. Anyways, you have not been charged. I will read your charges for you. You might be wondering how I got the document, but I'll read it for you regardless. As you can see, in the High Court of Justice of Edo State, in the Benin Criminal Division, holding at Benin City, Motion 2025, between Commissioner of Police, complainant/applicant, and Gwamnishu Harrison, M, 35 years, suspect. He said he has not been charged. Now let's read this charge. Charge that you, Gwamnishu M, on or about the 27th day of November 2025 around Auchi, Edo State, within the Auchi Criminal Division, under false pretense of inserting some security device into money meant for ransom payment of kidnappers with intent to defraud, did obtain the sum of 5.4 million naira from one Abdulaziz Saliu, and thereby committed an offense contrary to section 1 bracket at and punishable under section 1 subsection 3 of the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Fraud Related Offences Act 2006. That's one. Count 2 of your charge. That's you, Gwamnishu M, on or about 27th day of November 2025 around Auchi, Edo State, within the Auchi Criminal Division, did have in possession counterfeit currency notes of 5.4 million naira, which you knew the counterfeit currency, and thereby committed an offense punishable under section 25 subsection 5 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2023. Counts 3. That you, Gwamnishu, on or about the 2nd day of December 2025 around Auchi in Edo State, within the Criminal Division, did cause the continuing kidnap of one Zagiru Ibrahim M, and thereby committed an offense punishable under Section 3 of the Kidnapping Prohibition Amendment Law of Edo State. You see, these are very, very big. You see the counts too. My lawyer and I put down for that problem. That issue of fake Naira notes, say, just to do damage control, right? They now put it in a problem for count 2. Count 3, they are alleging kidnapping. That is part of the people being kidnapped, based on their own investigation. Now, I wouldn't know why you would lie about something like this. Now, this is the charge that you said you will never charge. Just in case you still want to argue further, this is the judge that sat on the case. Her name is Honorable Justice Etinosa Adekambi. That's the judge. There was the prosecutor. The judge was there. As a matter of fact, the prosecutor wanted you to go to jail for what you did for 6 months. But the judge was, of course, the judge just had to. Christmas they come, and of course a lot of people trying to plead and all that. So the judge just said, yeah. Now, let's go back again, right? He said, for clarity, I was neither invited nor arrested by the police. That means you walked in. So why didn't you walk out? Why didn't you walk out? Now, I don't like damage control, you see. But anything you say, I'm just going to come say something. And of course, you all know VeryDarkMan has proof. And let me tell you see, Nigerians have what I call a problem. It's not as if they don't know. Whatever thing I say, trust me, the whole country, anybody that watches it know I'm not lying. Of course, some people out of hate, I don't attack their favorite person before, they are scared that tomorrow might be their turn, they will just gather. It's like a group, you understand? They have a group of haters somewhere. They camp against VeryDarkMan. But the problem is this, you can't do anything. Do you understand? You can't do anything. And once VeryDarkMan talks about you, take it anywhere. There's what I do. I call it the truth hole. I put the truth hole on your personality. You might not go to prison, you might not go to jail, but there's that doubt I give. If I put a bomb, before anybody takes your story anymore, it's going to take ages. We have not even started. I will now go bit by bit into the whole thing. Like I said, I would just want you to come and tell the public. Nobody can believe you over VeryDarkMan. It's not even possible. They are all lying to themselves. Do you understand? And again, this is the law. Let me tell you how the law. It's my law. It's my law. When you have a problem, VeryDarkMan, right? This is what happens. Or when there's a problem. When people have a problem with VDM, that period, they get a lot of engagement. After 4 months, the people know VDM is not lying. They know, they just want to just bullshit VDM. But of course, VDM doesn't give a fuck. So they go to support you, po. Then later, they know the truth. They are going to go back. They did it with China, Ross. Where is it today? Mr. Jollof, a few days ago. Everybody, oh, Jollof. You can't get no good engagement no more. You have to do something extraordinary, right? Do you understand? So when you do damage control, sometimes, and these sort of things, I look at them and I smile. 4 months, they know VDM don't lie. 2, 3 months, they know VDM don't lie. Do you understand? They know VDM don't lie. Like I said, my work sometimes is not to take you to jail. No, not because I want them to arrest. No. Simple. I just put a hole there. It's a hole. It's called the truth hole in the character. Do you understand? And the painful part is, all of you cannot do anything about it. Nobody can do anything about it. This is VeryDarkMan we are talking about. Do you understand? Now your connection cannot do much. You bring out money, we bring out money too. You can't tell no police to go pick VeryDarkMan up anymore that you have some connection. It's not going to work. Unless if you are the government. Of course, the government can do that. They are the government. But no single entity, again, in this full country can do shit anymore. You can waste 200 million, I'll put it down. You go higher, I go higher. We put money down now. And guess what? What people don't know is, once the case is in the public, I can talk about it. It's my right to talk about it. I like my new accent. Peace and love, don't play. If you play, don't learn, and you will learn the hard way. And in this case, you all will learn. Like I said, I'll make everybody look stupid. That is what I do best. Peace and love, don't play. And you all know, I don't need love from nobody. I don't use love for nothing.
Osazuwa Nedo, bringing you the news in a more digital way. Osazuwa Nedo, bringing you the news in a more digital way.